Hi, this is our group simulation debrief video, and our simulation went pretty well overall, and so now we're just going to go more into that. So I'm Jamie Plofker, and I was the photographer.
I'm Grace Luden. I was the group's physician.
I'm Yimeng Shao, and I'm the environmentalist.
I'm Michael Rhodes, and I was the marathoner.
I'm Colton, and I was the leader. So, guys, what do you think went well overall in this simulation?
Well, in the simulation itself, I think it was great that like 3 of us made it to the top. Myself, Jamie, and Colton all summited Mount Everest.
Yeah, so more than half. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
We almost all made it, but then
Yeah.
at the last little bit, we lost two.
We lost you guys.
Dying.
I think like a way that we were able to be so successful and all stay together until the end was we did a good job at managing our individual goals versus the group goals.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked before each camp about what we were going to do, and
Yeah, I thought that was really important, especially like, so for me, I was able to like accomplish one of my individual goals, which was like staying at Camp 2 longer to take like photos, and so I was able to like talk with the group about that, and like we kind of also decided based on Emma's health, but we were able to compromise, and I was able to like complete an individual goal instead of someone else doing it.
Yeah, and I mean, my individual goal, in the other words, is like not completion because of my own health. It's like I was like being required to stay at Camp 4 for 1 more day, but I was weak at Camp 1 and I was critical at Camp 2, so I had to stay.
Right.
So yeah, that's all because of me. So it's kind of the conflict between the group goal and the individual goal.
yeah, so it was a good compromise. You were able to kind of get your health back up, and Jamie was able to take her photos.
Right.
Yeah, we each kind of like focused on what it said our position goal was, so that was pretty good.
Yeah.
That went
Yeah.
well.
So one of my individual goals was predicting the weather every day, and so I was the one person that had to do it. But like as a group, we kind of they helped me out, predicting the weather. And one day it'd be really warm, but they'd say it'd be cold the next day, but then it'd be just absolutely freezing. And so I'd get the weather wrong, but I don't know. I think we did like a good job overall of predicting it, and I mean, obviously, like 3 of us made it to the top with that. So yeah.
Yeah, it was nice that we were all able to kind of weigh in and help you out.
Definitely, gave me more confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in addition to doing the actual simulation, I think we were so successful because we all felt really prepared for the meetings themselves.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Went well.
Yeah.
We had I think what started us well off planning is that we had that group text between everybody that was
Right.
kind of key and essential because we could all communicate with each other when was good and things like that. So
Especially because like I missed that first like meeting. I missed class on Thursday when you guys were figuring out like the times, but with the group text like I was able to like be like, yeah, that works for me, and then we all were able to like set up our first meeting on Monday, which was like good for the group.
Yeah, it made scheduling really easy, and we all knew where we were going to be at what time.
definitely.
And like everyone was aware of their job,
Yeah.
like what they had to complete prior to our meetings. So our meetings themselves were really productive, and we were able to stay on track during those meetings. So we weren't, if we set aside 2 hours of the day, we didn't stay for like 2.5 hours. Like
Right.
everyone,
Right.
we were able to keep on track for that, like a lot of time of the meeting.
Yep, we were all like pretty prepared and seemed ready to go, so.
Yeah.
And everyone like followed the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's key too.
No one's late.
We had no
Yeah.
rule breakers.
Yeah.
I think the Google Doc itself helped too.
Yeah.
So we made a Google Doc with like all of our ideas on them and what we kind of should talk about, which was nice. So everyone had access to it.
Yep.
We could add it like our own pace too. If we just
Yeah.
thought of an idea, it's like, hey, can we just put this down? And
Yeah. Well, it's on the top
yeah,
of the head.
people could see it and work out well.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So kind of along those same lines, what did you guys view as difficult or kind of like our hardships?
I think that while it was good that we did all make it, it was kind of hard to gauge what each person needed to get done after like each step of the way. So at each camp, like each person needed to get something else done, and it was kind of like hard to predict like who needed what or what we needed to do for that person. So like in my role in particular, being the leader, I was kind of just like, well, I think that I'll just go with what everybody else wants to do, but I know that each of you guys like all had individual goals that you had to get done, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, you like
to
didn't
deal
want to
with.
step on anyone's toes or anything
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. So that kind of made it hard, like just knowing that everybody had a different goal that they needed to get done after each camp. So that was definitely one aspect of it.
Yeah, like although we did a good job at managing all of our individual goals, we had a little trouble meeting them because kind of like that we didn't want to step on anyone's toes or
Right, there's like two
make
sides
anyone
to
angry.
it.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
for example, I met my goal, but like you weren't able to meet yours.
Exactly.
I mean, I didn't get to top the.
Right, and that was like one of your main goals.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, there's the individual side, but like in the end, like it was like a group thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's kind of like the two sides of it.
Exactly.
Right.
Gotta make sacrifices for the group.
Right.
So kind of going off of that was we had a little trouble like dividing up our oxygen tanks, and ultimately that's why Michael and Emma weren't able to reach the top of Mount Everest.
Yeah, I mean, like on camp, I remember it's 6 or 5.
Yeah.
No, camp 4. On camp 4, like all of us is critical.
Yeah.
So and it's not like a data about who is like lack of oxygen. So
Yeah.
we have to divide it like equally.
Yeah.
We didn't know. We didn't have the information.
It was-
really. I mean, like we kind of did, but we didn't really know until the end.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
hard to tell like what each person needed in specifics. Like
Right.
we knew that all of us weren't doing well, but at that point we tried to gauge what we could.
Yeah.
We couldn't predict like if someone was gonna get better, you know, as they were going up, or someone was gonna get worse. So
Yeah.
it's definitely kind of hard.
We were all in pretty critical condition right before the summit.
Mhm.
So we ultimately decided to divide them up equally, but Michael's character had a history of asthma. Like
Mhm.
it said in the bio it never acted up before
Yeah.
that,
Mhm.
Kind
but
of
it decided
led
to.
to my downfall.
Yeah.
And I guess we should have ultimately known that, Emma was in pretty critical condition throughout the whole simulation.
Yeah.
So you probably should have gauged that you needed more.
Yes.
But since we were all in pretty critical condition, we just decided to.
Equally
I mean, we
distributed.
think about that, but then we decided to divide it. And
Exactly.
I mean, I was agree.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Going off that same idea of, group goals versus individual goals, Jamie's individual goal was taking photos at which camp? 2 or
I think
3?
2 or 3.
Yeah. And at that same camp, I had the individual goal of completing medical research. And because Emma was such a critical state, we weren't sure if completing both of our goals at the same time
Right.
would affect her or anything like that. So
And we kind of not went back and forth, but had, and not even argued, but just we kind of both voiced our opinion, but we didn't know what was the right path to take, and also our emotions were kind of getting in the way because
yeah,
I didn't want to again step on your toes or be weird about it because
yeah, we were
it's a
aware of
simulation.
our emotional intelligence.
Yeah, sure. But in the end,
yeah, ultimately we decided that her taking pictures was
we weren't sure if yours was going to come up again,
Yeah.
so we took that risk, and then since Emma was sick, we stayed at camp 2 or whatever.
exactly, yeah.
Mhm.
So additionally, I kind of think that we should have taken more time before we went to the next round to kind of talk about each individual, our goals themselves, so we made each other more aware of them. Kind of going back to your point of stepping on each other's toes, everyone voicing their opinions more.
Right. Yeah, we're all our own individual agents, and we kind of needed to go off what we thought was best for the group. So.
Yeah,
But we maybe should have like talked about that more and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
spent more time being like, okay, this is what I want to do. What do you want to do?
yeah,
Mhm.
I guess just all of us was kind of rushed on that day, kind of like want to finish this,
Yeah.
but not like maybe finish well. I don't
Right.
know, but like when our individual goal like pop up, I didn't even like think about taking a picture of that. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Emma, didn't you have some technical issues?
Yeah, that's right. Like my computer crashed down at last, and I can't see my score. And like, but fortunately, we figured it out at
Yeah.
last, and so it's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we were able to work through that well. Hopefully
Yeah.
that won't happen again.
yeah.
In addition, I think where we did the simulation was a little bit of an issue.
Kind of hard, yeah.
We did
Library.
it. Yeah, we did it in the library.
Yeah.
And although where we did it, it was a talking area of the library. It's still a library, and libraries are normally quiet.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of felt like we couldn't really talk as much.
Yeah, and
Voice
the
our
table
opinions.
is the table is so big, so we can't like shout at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the interaction design of the setup of the simulation was a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of just didn't really want to like disrupt others while they were doing
Exactly.
the work, but I don't know. It made it hard. Definitely.
Yeah, it was hard to communicate. We kind of needed to converse a little more, and that setting didn't really allow us to.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So going forth, and maybe even for the final, like what would we change? How do you overall? What do you think? How it went?
I think that overall we did a pretty good job, I'd say.
Mhm.
I mean, like, it was our first simulation, so we didn't really know what was going to go on. But
Exactly.
it wasn't an easy simulation by any
Yeah.
means, but overall, like, we did pretty well as a team. Like,
Mhm.
so that's definitely a good thing. And as we get to know each other more, like, we'll just be able to move forward from there even better. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like our group will develop over time, like you were saying, and like even like our norms and like our like our norms will develop. So like you were saying in the simulation, like it was harder to do that maybe the first day before we had even known each other that well. And maybe if we had done it like today or like whatever, like after 2 meetings, like it would have been different. So like going into a final, like our norms are changing and we're just like not closer as a group, but like we know
Yeah,
each
more
other better and we're more
comfortable.
comfortable
Yeah.
as a group. Yeah.
yeah.
Even talking about like maybe during the final, one of us will be like, hey, like I need to do this. This is my individual goal. Like, can you guys help me out on this one? I think additionally, maybe when we do the simulation for the final, we should book a room like the one that we're in now.
Yeah.
So we'll have no trouble.
Change our interaction.
Yeah,
Design. Yeah.
Definitely.
No problem, like if we need to argue or if we need to talk loud,
Right.
we won't feel like we're inconveniencing anyone else.
Mhm.
Cool.